Greetings, my name is Owen Ryder, and I am the author of the Christian book, The Hourglass by Owen Ryder. One of the methods I employ when putting together a video has to do with the heading or the title found on the screen. Some of the titles are relatively to the point, while others are not so defined, as a word or phrase only hint at the content. In each case, I am attempting to create some kind of specially designed entry or portal, if you will, that the viewer would open hopefully for a better understanding, depending on each individual. Ultimately, my goal is to give definition according to how I, an imperfect person, perceive it. This specific video called, and I quote, "The Conscience," end quote, and the effect even the mere title can possibly have on one is not only more than likely proof of its existence, but probably encompasses both of the definitions I just gave, and that it needs no real introduction with regard to most people, yet as it is meant to function, can elicit a bit of hesitancy as it is meant to function. Man is what's called tripartite, meaning of three parts: body, soul, and spirit. In the Greek New Testament, the word for body is bios, where we get our English word biology and or the study of the physical living things. In the Greek New Testament, the word for soul is psyche, where we get our English word for psychology and or mind-oriented things. And finally, in the Greek New Testament, the word for spirit is pneuma, which is translated as breath or air in motion. The word pneumatic comes to my mind, which in English is something that operates by air or gas under pressure. And somewhere within these ever so relevant parts of man's being and God's creation is found the conscience, quite possibly with free will added into the mix. In his brilliant letter to the Christians living in the city of Rome, Paul the Apostle in the second chapter wrote that the yet to be redeemed, whether they are a Jew or a Gentile, have a conscience and or an awareness of right and wrong, making them accountable to God's laws and the ultimate judgment. The problem is that the conscience, which we all inherited from Adam and Eve after the fall, though it may still have a faint sense of right and wrong, has understandably become dull and degraded in many cases, and consequently more than ever vulnerable to eternal deception. In another of his letters, this time sent to his co-worker Timothy, Paul the Apostle uses the word seared to describe a type of conscience in 1 Timothy 4:2. The Greek word here is kateriazo, which is to be marked out with a hot branding iron. In this specific context, it is to describe apostates who go against God's truth. Finally, in Hebrews 4th chapter and 12th verse, the writer describes God's word as alive and able to divide the soul from the spirit. Why soul from the spirit? Because due to the fall of man, the damaged soul, which as stated earlier seems to be a part of the conscience, has eclipsed the spirit and therefore left man in a state of eternal confusion and disrepair. Hence, our only hope is to acknowledge Christ and the blood he shed as the unique forgiver of sins, that we would then repair and redeem the disconnected relationship we have had with our Creator, and thus begin to enjoy the peace of mind that comes with a clear conscience. My name is Owen Ryder. Thanks for listening.